Welcome to One Goal English Podcast. Your journey to fluent English starts here.
Imagine you are walking down a busy street, right? Just minding your own business, and a tourist suddenly stops you.
Oh boy, the classic scenario.
Right. They look a little lost, they hold up their phone, and they ask you for directions to the nearest train station in English.
Yep. And instantly the panic sets in.
Exactly. In a split second, your heart rate spikes, your palms might even start sweating. And the crazy thing is, you know the way to the station. You even know the English words for like left, right, straight ahead.
But your brain completely freezes.
It totally betrays you. The silence stretches on for 3, 4, 5 agonizing seconds. You stammer out a broken sentence, point awkwardly, and just walk away feeling completely defeated.
It's awful. You're just wondering why your brain did that.
Yes. Why does this happen? Why do we freeze when the pressure is on, even when we actually know the vocabulary?
Right, you go.
Today, we are dissecting that exact moment of panic.
And, that visceral reaction of freezing up, it's something nearly every language learner on the planet has experienced. It's a universal friction point.
Yeah, you are definitely not alone in that.
Exactly. And resolving that friction is the entire focus of what we're unpacking today. We're looking at this brilliant foundation piece from One Goal English, Fluency Series, Episode 1, How to Start Thinking in English. The goal of this deep dive is to hand you, the listener, the master key to bypass that panic completely. We're going to dismantle the mechanics of why your brain crashes under pressure and, more importantly, how you can rewire it to respond instantly.
I love that. And I want to speak directly to you, the listener, right now. If you are a beginner or an intermediate English learner, or even if you've been studying for years but still feel that knot in your stomach when someone speaks to you, this conversation is entirely for you.
Oh, 100%. This is a safe space.
Totally. We are not here to talk about getting good grades or passing some academic exam. There are no red check marks being handed out today. Fluency is a habit, not a test.
Fluency is a habit. Yes. It's a biological behavior you develop, not a math formula you just memorize.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I think treating language like a test is where so much of this anxiety comes from.
It actually is the root cause of the anxiety you just described in that street encounter. Think about it. When you speak your native language, you're not administering a test to yourself.
No, of course not. You just talk.
Right. You never pause to calculate subject-verb agreement. You don't actively worry about whether you are using the past continuous tense correctly.
Yeah, that would be exhausting.
It would. The words flow effortlessly because your native thoughts and your native language are inextricably linked. They function as a single unit.
So to speak English smoothly, we have to forge that exact same neurological connection.
Exactly. When you start thinking directly in English, you completely eliminate that terrifying 5-second pause. You remove the heavy cognitive load of translating.
Which instantly evaporates the anxiety, right?
Yes, and it allows you to actually enjoy the interaction.
That shift from anxiety to enjoyment, that changes everything. It takes English from being this dry, frustrating school subject that you resent and turns it into a living, breathing part of how you express your identity.
Beautifully said. But to get to that point of effortless flow, we have to face the dragon.
We do. We have to look at what is actively causing the brain to crash. And before we break down the mechanics of this loop, I think we need to establish something incredibly important for anyone listening who feels bad about their English speaking skills. The fact that you translate in your head, it is not a personal failure.
I'm so glad you brought that up. It is not a failure of intelligence, and it is certainly not a lack of effort.
No, not at all.
If you are stuck in the mental translation loop, you are simply operating exactly how the traditional school system programmed you to operate.
Right, because of how they teach us.
Exactly. Most formal education relies on what linguists call the grammar translation method. When you walk into a standard classroom, what happens?
The teacher writes an English word on the board.
Right. They write the word, put an equal sign next to it, and write the word in your native language. They hand you a formula like subject plus verb plus object.
And they tell you to build a sentence the same way you would solve an algebra equation.
Which is just toxic for a real-time conversation.
It is, and it's fascinating when you dig into the history of it. I was looking into this, and the grammar translation method was originally designed, like centuries ago, to teach dead languages.
Like Latin and ancient Greek.
Exactly. The entire point was to allow scholars to sit in a quiet room and slowly decipher ancient texts. It was never designed to help a human being navigate a loud, chaotic, real-time conversation in a living language.
But we're still using it today.
We're still using this archaic math-based system to teach spoken English. It's crazy.
You are hitting on the exact reason why the brain's working memory becomes completely overloaded. We are asking our brains to do high-level cryptanalysis in the middle of a casual conversation.
Right on the sidewalk.
Right. So let's actually walk through the 5 steps of the mental translation loop as outlined in the text. Because seeing it laid out reveals just how much cognitive energy is being wasted.
Okay, let's do it. So imagine again you are on the street and someone asks you a question.
Step 1 is input. Your ears physically receive the English sound waves.
Okay, so that's the only passive part of the process. Your brain just registers that someone made sounds.
Yeah, but immediately the heavy lifting begins with step 2, inward translation.
Oh, this is where the equal signs come in.
Exactly. Because you were taught with equal signs, your brain halts the live interaction. It takes the English audio, scrambles to find the matching vocabulary in your native language, and translates the sentence just so you can grasp the basic meaning.
So the conversation is already stalling.
You've introduced a massive delay just to comprehend the input. But once you finally understand, you move to step 3, processing.
Okay, so I understand the question, and now I naturally want to be helpful or witty, so I formulate a response.
Right. However, because your internal operating system is still running in your mother tongue, you construct this brilliant, perfectly nuanced reply entirely in your native language.
I've totally done this. I'm like, wow, this is a great point I'm about to make.
And this is where the train completely derails. Because step 4 is outward translation.
The worst step.
You have this great native sentence in your head, and now you have to shove it backward through the translation filter into English. You are suddenly juggling all those rigid grammar rules on the fly.
You're thinking, wait, is this a plural noun? Do I use in or on for transportation?
Exactly. You're attempting to do complex linguistic mathematics while another human being is staring directly at you, waiting for an answer.
Which brings us to the agonizing step 5, output.
Yes, you finally push the English words out of your mouth, but by the time you reach this step, your cognitive load has been maxed out.
Your stress hormones have spiked.
And several seconds have ticked by. Doing this for one sentence is exhausting. Attempting to sustain this 5-step loop for a 30-minute conversation is biologically unsustainable. Your brain simply runs out of processing power.
Man, it makes me think of playing a sport like tennis.
Oh, I like this. Go on.
Imagine standing on a tennis court, right? And a ball is flying toward you at 60 miles an hour. If you try to calculate the wind speed, the parabolic arc of the ball, the tension of your racket strings, and the exact angle of your wrist before you swing.
The ball is just going to hit you in the face.
Exactly. You cannot calculate the physics in real time. You have to rely on muscle memory and instinct. The mental translation loop is like trying to do those physics calculations for every single sentence you speak.
That is a phenomenal way to visualize it. You are forcing the analytical part of your brain to manage a task that should be handled by the automatic, intuitive part of your brain.
You just have too many background apps running, the computer crashes.
Precisely. So to fix this, we have to look at the alternative, which is a direct English path.
The direct path.
Okay.
The goal here is to entirely bypass the native language middleman and fire the internal translator.
Fire the translator. I love that. The text uses the apple example to illustrate this, and it is so wonderfully simple.
Walk us through it.
So when you look at a piece of fruit on your kitchen counter, you don't observe the object. Think of the abstract concept. Translate that concept into your native language, and then speak the word out loud.
Not at all. If it's a red, round piece of fruit, Your visual cortex registers the image, and your language center instantly fires the word apple.
Right. The connection is instantaneous.
The direct English path requires you to build that exact same immediate connection between the sensory world and your English vocabulary.
So when someone tells you it is raining, you should not translate the word raining into your mother tongue.
No. The sound of the English word should directly trigger the mental image of water falling from the sky.
You are linking the English sound directly to the physical reality.
There's the core of it. But, knowing that we need to build this direct path is one thing. Actually reprogramming our adult brains to do it feels like this monumental task.
It can feel daunting, for sure.
Yeah, because our brains aren't computer hard drives where we can just hit delete on the translation software and install the direct path software. How do we organically make this shift?
Well, we have to lean into how the human brain is biologically designed to acquire language.
Okay.
The brain is an organic, highly associative pattern recognition machine. It thrives on context. And the text brings up a really powerful analogy here regarding how infants learn their first language. Linguists call it subconscious language acquisition.
Right. Think about a baby learning the word dog. The parents don't sit a 1-year-old down at a desk, hand them a textbook, and explain the difference between a noun and a verb.
They definitely don't offer a translation either.
No. They rely entirely on exposure and contextual connection. A parent points at the furry animal in the room and simply says, dog.
And they repeat the word when the animal barks. They repeat it when the baby touches the soft fur.
So the baby's brain forms this really powerful, multisensory neural pathway.
Exactly. The sound of the word dog becomes permanently mapped to the visual sight, the auditory bark, and the physical feeling of the animal.
The brain literally builds a physical synapse linking the sensory experience to the word, completely bypassing any analytical middleman.
That is neuroplasticity in action.
Wow. So our mission is to recreate that sensory, context-rich environment for ourselves in English.
That's the mission.
But before we can dive into the daily routines that build those pathways, we need to clear out some mental debris. 3 massive myths that paralyze learners.
Yes, the mental blocks.
These are the excuses we tell ourselves about why we can't achieve fluency. So let's shatter these right now. What's the first myth?
The first myth is perhaps the most pervasive one globally. It's the belief that you must physically live in an English-speaking country to start thinking in English.
Oh, I hear this constantly. People assume geographical immersion is the only valid path to fluency. They'll say, oh, I live in a tiny village in Spain, or I'm in a quiet suburb in Japan. I don't hear English on the street, so it's impossible for me.
But that is geographical determinism, and it is completely false.
Completely false.
Entirely false. Moving to London or New York does not magically rewire your internal cognitive pathways.
Really? Just being there isn't enough.
No. There are thousands of expatriates who have lived in the United States or the UK for 20 years, but because they only socialize within their native-speaking enclaves, they still translate everything in their heads.
Oh, wow. That makes a lot of sense.
Geography guarantees nothing. Conversely, you can live in the most isolated remote town on Earth, and through modern technology, you can curate an incredibly rich, immersive English ecosystem right inside your own bedroom.
So immersion is a psychological mindset, not a GPS coordinate.
Immersion is a mindset. I love that.
Okay, myth number 2 is something I want to push back on a bit because I think a lot of listeners will share this anxiety.
Let's hear it.
The myth is that you need a massive vocabulary before you can even begin to think in English. But realistically, if I am a professional or just an adult with complex thoughts, don't I need thousands of sophisticated words to function?
It's a fair question.
Right. If I only use basic words, won't I sound foolish or unintelligent?
It is a completely natural fear, but it stems from a misunderstanding of what fluency actually is. You do not need to swallow a dictionary to think in English.
So I don't need 10,000 words.
Not at all. In fact, you can begin the process of thinking in English today using only 100 to 200 highly common basic words. The text emphasizes a critical distinction. Fluency is about access speed, not dictionary size.
Access speed. Meaning, like, how fast you can grab the word from your brain without translating it.
Exactly. I would much rather listen to someone speak fluidly and confidently using a vocabulary of 500 words than listen to someone painfully stutter through a conversation because they're trying to access a vocabulary of 5,000 words through a translation filter.
Wow. Yeah, that puts it in perspective.
When you are building the habit of thinking in English, your goal is velocity. The complexity of your vocabulary will naturally expand over time, but the habit of direct access must be built on the simplest foundation possible.
That takes so much pressure off. We are optimizing for speed and flow, not academic complexity.
Exactly.
Which brings us perfectly to myth number 3, which might be the most toxic psychological barrier of them all. The idea that mistakes must be avoided at all costs.
This is another hangover from the grammar translation classroom.
Oh, definitely.
In a traditional academic setting, a mistake is a failure. It results in a lower grade. It is a source of public shame.
Right, you get the red pen all over your paper.
But what's fascinating here is that in the organic reality of subconscious language acquisition, mistakes are not failures. They are beautiful. They are essential data points.
It's points, I like that.
They are the friction required to build the neural pathway.
It's kind of like a GPS system recalculating a route. If you take a wrong turn, the GPS doesn't just shut down and tell you that you are a terrible driver. No, it doesn't.
It just takes in the new data, adjusts the map, and keeps guiding you forward.
That is precisely how the brain works. If you sit in silence, refusing to think or speak in English until you're absolutely certain your grammar is flawless,
You'll just never speak.
you will remain silent forever. You are denying your brain the vital feedback loop it needs to adjust its internal map. Human connection, the flow of ideas, and the speed of communication are infinitely more important than achieving grammatical perfection.
Okay, so we have dismantled the excuses.
Yeah.
You do not need to move to a new country. You do not need a 10,000-word vocabulary. And you are actively encouraged to make mistakes.
It's very liberating.
It really is. So the question now becomes practical. How do we actually convince our stubborn adult brains that English is necessary for our daily survival right where we are? How do we build that digital ecosystem?
You have to leverage the environments you already interact with daily.
Because the brain is ruthlessly efficient. If it perceives English as a low-priority hobby that you only engage with for 30 minutes on a Tuesday evening, it will refuse to expend the immense neurological energy required to change its core operating system.
It's just going to stay lazy.
Right. You have to trick your subconscious into believing that navigating the world requires English.
Yeah.
And the most immediate way to do that is through a digital shift.
Yeah. Some brilliant, highly actionable tips here. The first one is to change the digital interfaces of every device you own.
Every single one.
Your smartphone, your laptop, your smart TV, your social media accounts. Go into the settings today and switch the default language to English. Now, on the surface, this might sound like a trivial tip, but neurologically, it is doing something very specific, isn't it?
It is remarkably effective because it bypasses cognitive resistance by utilizing your existing muscle memory.
Oh, muscle memory, right.
Think about how you use your phone. You already know intuitively where the send button is, where the settings gear icon is, and where the like button is located on your favorite app.
Yeah, I could do it with my eyes closed.
Exactly. You do not need to read the word to know its function. So when you change the language to English, your brain still navigates using muscle memory, but your visual cortex is constantly absorbing the English vocabulary associated with those actions.
You are mapping English words to ingrained behaviors without any active studying.
Yes, you are absorbing technical vocabulary by sheer osmosis.
Another fantastic tip from the text is shifting your Google search habits. We rely on search engines for everything.
We really do.
So the next time you need to find a recipe for dinner or check the weekend weather forecast or watch a tutorial on how to fix a leaking sink, force yourself to type that query in English.
This is crucial because it transforms English from an academic subject into a practical tool for problem solving.
Right. It's not just a textbook exercise anymore.
No. When you use English to learn how to fix your sink, Your brain registers the language as a mechanism for survival and utility in the real world. It signals to the subconscious that English is not just an abstract concept. It is the key to unlocking necessary information.
And when we talk about consuming information, especially media, the text outlines a very strict parameter that listeners need to adopt immediately: the subtitle rule.
Oh yes, this is a big one.
If you are watching an English movie or YouTube video, you must stop using subtitles in your native language. I know it feels comfortable, but it is destroying your progress.
It is actively sabotaging the direct path. When you listen to English audio but read native language subtitles, you are forcing your brain to remain inside the mental translation loop.
You are feeding the middleman.
Exactly. To break the habit, you must consume media with English audio and English subtitles running simultaneously.
It's a dual-channel assault on the brain.
Precisely. You are forcing your visual system, which is reading the text, and your auditory system, which is hearing the pronunciation, to process the exact same English data at the exact same millisecond.
So the eyes and ears are working together.
Yes. This synchronizes the input, blocks the vocabulary into your subconscious, and effectively short-circuits the brain's attempt to translate back into your mother tongue.
Now, you are probably listening to this on your commute or while doing the dishes, thinking, okay, I will change my phone settings and use English subtitles. But how do I actually start producing English thoughts?
This is where we need to issue a warning.
Yes, a big warning. Do not dive into the deep end. Do not sit in your living room tonight and try to internally debate complex political issues or philosophical concepts in English.
It's a common mistake, and it is akin to someone walking into a gym on their very first day and attempting to deadlift 200 pounds.
You will completely crush yourself.
You will feel demoralized, and you will conclude that you simply aren't strong enough. You have to start with the lightest possible weight. And in language acquisition, the lightest weight is the single word naming exercise.
It's incredibly simple, but it is the foundational building block of everything else we are going to discuss.
Absolutely.
You do not need sentences. You do not need verbs. You simply look around your immediate physical environment, wherever you happen to be right now, and you identify the objects you see using single English nouns.
Just nouns.
Right. You look the floor, shoe, you look the wall, door, window, clock, desk, cup.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because you are actively bypassing the internal dictionary. When you look at the cup, you do not think of the native word for cup. You look at the physical object and force the word cup to surface.
You are mapping it directly to physical reality.
Exactly. Once that single word identification feels snappy and automatic, you add a tiny bit of weight to the bar.
Yeah.
You introduce basic adjectives to describe the state of the objects.
Okay, so like empty cup, heavy door, bright window, wooden desk, blue shoe.
By pairing the noun with a descriptive adjective, you are beginning to form micro-concepts directly in English. You are mapping the language not just to the object, but to the reality of its condition in the physical world.
This low-pressure exercise is how you lay the concrete foundation for the direct path.
Yes, it's the warm-up.
But labeling static objects in a room is only the warm-up. Fluency requires motion. It requires narrative flow.
Right, life isn't static.
Exactly. So how do we take those individual words and string them together into a consistent stream of thought without feeling exhausted?
The text provides a brilliant strategy for this. You become the secret live narrator of your own daily documentary.
The secret narrator. I love that. And the absolute most critical time to practice this is during your morning routine.
The morning routine is the golden window for language learners.
Why is the morning so important?
Because when you first open your eyes in the morning, your brain is in a transitional state. It is still booting up. Your native language operating system hasn't fully taken control yet.
Ah, so you can sneak in there.
Exactly. By capturing that fragile early morning state, you can initiate your internal monologue in English before your native language has a chance to dominate the day.
The key here is not just narrating what you are doing, but focusing heavily on the sensory details.
And sensory details are everything.
Let's walk through this. You wake up, the alarm goes off. Before you even get out of bed, your inner voice says, I am awake, the sun is up, it is time to start the day.
And then you transition out of bed and you focus on the physical input. I am stretching my arms, my muscles feel tight, the floor is cold under my feet, I am walking to the bathroom.
Then the hygiene routine, which is rich with sensory feedback. You think, I turn on the water is cold, I am brushing my teeth, the toothpaste is minty and fresh, I wash my face, now I feel fully awake.
The emphasis on the cold floor, the tight muscles, and the minty toothpaste is highly intentional.
Like the baby learning dog with the soft fur.
Yes, exactly. As we discussed with the baby, the human brain learns best when language is anchored to physical sensation. By narrating these basic physical experiences in real time, you are cementing the vocabulary into your physical memory. Let's continue to the kitchen.
Okay, so I am walking to the kitchen. I need to drink a glass of water. The water is clear and cold. I am going to make some coffee now. I turn on the machine. The coffee smells dark and rich.
Beautiful.
I pour it into my favorite mug. The mug is warm in my hands. I look out the window. The sky is gray. The street is quiet.
Now that entire sequence might only take 10 or 15 minutes of real time, but consider the neurological impact.
It's massive.
You have successfully maintained a continuous, unbroken stream of English thought during a highly routine, low-stress portion of your day. You have set the linguistic tone.
But the sensory world of the morning is only one half of the equation, right?
Right. To truly integrate English into your life, you must also narrate your structural, logical, and analytical behaviors. This typically happens when you transition into your work or school routine.
Because the way you think at a desk is very different from the way you think making coffee. Work requires task management, problem solving, and organization.
So let's say you arrive at your desk. The narrator shifts gears. I'm sitting at my desk. I am opening my laptop. I need to check my schedule for today.
You narrate your organizational process. I am opening my email inbox. I have 12 unread messages. 3 of them are urgent. I need to reply to the manager first.
And you can narrate your physical problem solving too. Where did I put my black notebook? I know it was here yesterday. I see it. It is hiding under this stack of folders.
You can even narrate your time management and focus strategies. This financial report is very complicated. I need absolute concentration for the next hour. I will turn off my phone notifications and close all other browser tabs.
And don't forget social anticipation. It is almost noon. I'm feeling hungry. I will go to the cafeteria and eat a chicken sandwich with my coworker. We will probably talk about our weekend plans.
By doing this, you are proving to your brain that English is fully capable of managing your complex adult responsibilities.
Exactly. You have conquered the private, controlled space of your home and the structured, logical space of your desk. But the text challenges us to step out into the unpredictable, chaotic environment of the real world.
Right. What happens when we are surrounded by noise, crowds, and endless visual stimuli?
The ultimate testing ground for this is the shopping practice. The grocery store is an absolute goldmine for language learners.
Yes, it's essentially a giant warehouse designed to categorize and display thousands of distinct physical objects.
Right.
It is the perfect place for concrete thought mapping.
The level of detail you can achieve in a grocery store is incredible. Let's walk through a simulated shopping trip. You walk through the automatic doors, you grab a shopping cart, your internal narrator observes, the wheels of this cart are a bit noisy. It is difficult to push.
Then you head straight for the produce section, which is a sensory explosion. I am in the fruit and vegetable aisle. I need to buy some apples. These green apples look a bit bruised. I will choose the red apples instead. They look very juicy. I am putting 6 of them into a clear plastic bag.
Then you navigate the aisles, which requires spatial reasoning and categorization. Where's the rice section? Aisle 3. I'm walking down aisle 3. The shelf is too high. I have to reach up to grab the bag of rice.
Finally, the checkout experience. I am walking toward the cash registers. The line is very long. I have to wait patiently. The cashier is scanning my items quickly. I pay with my credit card. It is a continuous narrative of actions, observations, and decisions.
It is excellent practice for external observation, but if you only ever use English to describe the external world, the apples, the noisy cart, the computer screen, you will remain emotionally detached from the language.
That makes sense.
To truly think in English, you must learn to label your internal emotional world.
This is such a critical point. Language is not just a tool for navigating a grocery store. It is the vehicle we use to process our deepest feelings. If you haven't built an emotional vocabulary in English, what happens when you get stressed or angry or overwhelmed?
Your brain will instantly abandon English and retreat to the safety of your native language. Because the limbic system, the emotional center of the brain, demands immediate expression.
Right, it doesn't want to wait for translation.
Exactly. If the English pathways for those emotions do not exist, the brain takes the path of least resistance. You must actively practice articulating your internal state.
So this means having brutally honest check-ins with yourself throughout the day. You practice saying, I'm a bit angry right now because my bus was late and I hate being disorganized.
Or processing anxiety. I feel nervous about speaking to my new manager this afternoon. Or recognizing exhaustion. I'm completely exhausted after this long workout. I need to rest.
Or even the positive emotions. I feel a rush of excitement because I finally solved that coding problem. By labeling your emotions, you intertwine English with your actual identity. It stops being a costume you put on and becomes a genuine expression of who you are.
That integration is the ultimate goal. However, and this is a big however, even as you build these routines, there's an inevitable moment that every learner dreads.
The brick wall.
The brick wall. Picture this. You were doing beautifully. You were narrating your morning. You navigated the grocery store. You checked in on your emotions. The flow state is strong. Look at an object or you try to express a specific concept and your brain just hits a brick wall.
You do not know the English word for it.
It is the moment of panic.
It is a terrible feeling. I've experienced this trying to speak a second language abroad. You know exactly what the thing is in your native language, but the English file is just empty.
And what's the instinct in that moment?
The immediate, almost uncontrollable physical reaction is to pull out your smartphone, open a dictionary app, and translate the word.
Yes. And the moment you do that, you have broken the chain. You have re-entered the translation loop.
So how do we survive that moment of panic without reaching for the dictionary?
The technical term for it is circumlocution.
Circumlocution. It sounds like a legal term or a magic spell.
It is a cognitive magic spell. Circumlocution simply means talking around a word. It is the skill of describing an object, a person, or a concept using the basic foundational vocabulary you already possess, instead of relying on the specific complex word that you have forgotten.
Okay, I have to challenge this concept.
Please do.
I understand how this works in theory, but let's talk about reality. If I am in a professional setting or even just talking to a native speaker at a party and I forget a word, won't I sound ridiculous if I start playing a game of charades with my vocabulary?
That's a common fear.
Right. If I am in a business meeting and I forget the word quarterly earnings report, I can't just call it the important money paper that we read 4 times a year. Won't people think I lack intelligence?
I'm glad you brought that up, because the fear of sounding foolish is exactly what drives people back to the translation dictionary. But your fear is based on a massive misconception. Native speakers use circumlocution constantly, every single day, in professional and casual settings alike.
Wait, really? Native speakers do this?
All the time. Think about your own life. Have you ever been mid-sentence in your native tongue and completely blanked on a common word?
Oh, absolutely. All the time. I'll be in the kitchen and say, can you hand me the metal thing with the hold in it that we used to drain the pasta? I totally forget the word colander.
Precisely. When that happens, you do not stop speaking, apologize for your lack of intelligence, and go look up colander in a dictionary.
No, I just describe it.
You simply talk around it. You describe its function and its physical appearance. It is a completely natural human communication strategy. When you use circumlocution in English, you are not acting like a clueless beginner. You're actually employing a highly advanced native-level survival tool.
It keeps your brain firmly locked inside the English ecosystem.
It prevents the operating system from crashing.
So how do we operationalize this superpower? Because the text gives us some very clear, reliable formulas that we can memorize and deploy the second panic sets in.
The formulas are great.
You can use phrases like, it is a thing used for, or it is a person who, or it looks like a, or it is the exact opposite of. Let's run through the specific scenarios provided in the text to see how this works in practice.
Let's do it.
Scenario A. You are getting ready to leave your apartment, you are patting your pockets, and you realize you forgot the English word wallet.
Okay, instead of reaching for your phone to translate it, you take a breath, rely on the object formula, and think. Where is the small leather object where people keep their paper money, coins, and credit cards?
Wow, so you have successfully maintained the English thought process.
Exactly. You didn't break the flow.
Okay. Scenario B is social. You are out at a nice restaurant, you are thoroughly impressed with the meal, and you want to compliment the person who cooked it, but you completely blank on the word chef.
You deploy the person formula. I want to send my compliments to the professional person who cooks the delicious food in the kitchen of this restaurant.
The waiter understands exactly who you mean, and you haven't broken your flow.
Right. And you sound completely natural.
Scenario C is back in the domestic space. You are putting groceries away and you look at the large appliance in the kitchen, but the word refrigerator just vanishes from your mind.
You combine the visual and functional formulas. I need to put this milk inside the big cold metal box in the kitchen that keeps food fresh.
And what if we take it into the workplace, like my previous example? You are talking to a colleague and you forget the word colleague or coworker.
You simply say, I need to discuss this project with the person who works at the desk next to mine in the office.
So what does this all mean? The beauty of circumlocution is that it transforms a moment of paralyzing fear into a moment of creative problem solving.
It really does. It proves to your brain that you are never truly stuck. Even with a limited vocabulary, as long as you can describe what a thing does or what it looks like, you can navigate any situation without ever reverting to your native language.
It is incredibly empowering. It shifts you from a defensive posture to an offensive one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have built the arsenal. We understand the digital ecosystem shift. We know how to narrate our mornings and our grocery trips. We know the importance of emotional vocabulary. And we have the superpower of circumlocution to save us when we stumble.
We have all the tools.
But how do we take all of these disparate tools and forge them into an unbreakable automatic habit? But before we get to the roadmap, we have to talk about the potholes. 3 specific traps that almost all beginners fall into when trying to build this habit.
Forewarning is essential here. Trap number 1 is grammar perfectionism. As we touched on earlier, learners have been conditioned to fear mistakes.
We're terrified of them.
When they begin their internal monologue, they often interrupt their own thoughts to self-correct. They will think, I'm going to the store. Should it be, I will go to the store, or I am going to go to the store?
You are bringing the red pen into your own mind.
Exactly. The moment you stop to analyze the grammar of your internal thoughts, you destroy the flow. During your internal monologue, grammar is utterly irrelevant.
Yeah.
Speed, flow, and direct word association are your only goals.
So just let it be messy.
Let it be messy. The grammatical structure will naturally correct itself over time through continued listening and exposure to native materials.
Yeah.
Do not grade your own thoughts.
Got it. Now, trap number 2 is intimately related to speed, but in the opposite direction. It's thinking too fast.
This is a very common biological friction point. When you think in your native language, your thoughts race at lightning speed. It is a highly optimized superhighway. When you begin narrating your life in English, your instinct is to try and match that native speed. But your English vocabulary processing speed is still a winding dirt road.
And if you drive a Ferrari on a dirt road, you're going to crash.
Exactly. When the dirt road cannot handle the high-speed traffic, you get incredibly frustrated and the system crashes.
So the solution is conscious deceleration. You have to actively command your inner voice to slow down. Speak to yourself deliberately, clearly, and at a pace where your English vocabulary can comfortably keep up with your observations.
It is a marathon, not a sprint.
And that leads directly to trap number 3, which is the emotional fallout. frustration.
Look, your brain has spent decades utilizing the translation loop. It is deeply ingrained. As you try to build this new habit, your brain is going to slip back into your native language.
It's just going to happen.
It'll take the lazy, familiar path. It is inevitable. When you catch yourself translating or thinking in your mother tongue, the worst thing you can do is get angry. Do not punish yourself. Do not tell yourself that you are failing.
Because anger just spikes your cortisol and makes learning even harder. When you catch your brain reverting to your native language, simply smile.
Just smile.
Acknowledge that your brain just tried to take the easy way out and gently, kindly redirect your thoughts back into English. It is a gentle correction, like guiding a puppy back to a path, not a harsh punishment.
I love that image. And to help build that gentle discipline and cognitive endurance, 2 highly practical, isolated exercises you can do daily.
Okay, what are they?
The first is called the picture description game.
I really love this one because it leverages technology we all carry with us. You open the photo gallery on your smartphone, you close your eyes and scroll wildly, landing on a completely random photo from your past.
It could be a picture from a vacation 5 years ago, a photo of a meal you ate, or a picture of your dog.
Right. And once you look at the photo, you force yourself to immediately generate 5 simple English sentences in your head describing exactly what is happening in that image.
It is a brilliant exercise because it forces spontaneous English thought that is directly tethered to a vivid visual memory. It trains the brain to react to visual stimuli with immediate English output, bypassing the translation loop entirely.
The 5-minute timer challenge.
This is a concentrated mental workout. You find a quiet place, you set a countdown timer on your phone for exactly 5 minutes, and you commit to maintaining a continuous stream of consciousness exclusively in English until the alarm sounds.
So you can describe the room, your plans for the week, your emotional state, anything.
Anything at all. But the rule is absolute. No native thoughts allowed. If your native language tries to intrude, you gently push it away and resume the English narrative.
It builds the cognitive stamina required to stay in the English mindset for longer periods.
Exactly. Those isolated exercises are the perfect training ground for the ultimate 30-day challenge.
The 30-day Thinking in English Challenge. This is the roadmap that takes you from theory to permanent habit. Let's break this down.
The 30-day timeline is not arbitrary. It takes roughly a month of consistent daily effort to fundamentally alter neural pathways and establish a new baseline habit.
Right. And the challenge is brilliantly broken down into 3 manageable 10-day stages. So days 1 through 10 is the label stage.
This is where you lay the foundation. You do not worry about verbs or sentences or abstract ideas. For just 5 minutes a day, you rely exclusively on nouns and adjectives.
Just like the single word naming exercise we talked about earlier?
Yes, you look around your environment and you fire off direct labels. Red book, cold coffee, bright screen, heavy chair, blue sky. You are training the visual cortex to communicate directly with your English vocabulary.
Okay, so that's the first 10 days. Once that feels stable, you graduate to days 11 through 20, which is the action stage.
Here, you take the static labels and you inject motion. For 5 minutes a day, you bring in verbs. You become the live narrator of your real-time physical movements using simple present continuous tense.
I am drinking water. I am standing up. I am walking to the door. I am picking up the keys.
You are linking English directly to your own physical kinesiology.
And finally, days 21 through 30 is the full mindset stage. This is the integration phase. You graduate from the physical world to the abstract world.
You dedicate your 5 minutes to describing your internal emotions, your philosophical thoughts, or your future plans.
I feel excited today. I am incredibly motivated to finish this project. I am worried about the weather this weekend.
By the end of day 30, the cognitive friction will have dramatically decreased. Thinking in English will feel like a natural, accessible option for your brain.
It is a profound rewiring process. It takes dedication, but the resulting freedom is unparalleled.
It really is.
As we wrap up this incredibly deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final surge of motivation. The journey we have outlined today proves that fluency is not an exclusive club reserved for linguistic geniuses.
Not at all.
You do not need a university degree in English literature. You do not need to memorize an advanced vocabulary of 10,000 obscure words to start.
You just need to start small.
You simply need the courage to start small. Embrace the awkwardness of talking to yourself in your own head. Be incredibly patient with your brain as it builds these new pathways. Understand that every single solitary word you successfully think in English without translating it first is a massive, tangible victory on your fluency journey.
That is the absolute truth. If we connect this to the bigger picture, fluency is not an academic test. It is a lifestyle habit you practice. It's a daily choice you make through constant low-pressure exposure. And if you trust this process, if you stick with the narration, the digital ecosystem shift, and the circumlocution, there will come a morning very soon where you wake up, open your eyes, and realize with profound shock that you just had a full dream entirely in English.
Wow.
That is the ultimate biological confirmation that your subconscious mind has fully accepted the language as its own.
Dreaming in English. That is amazing. But I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over, the ultimate milestone of naturally dreaming in English. But think about this. Once your subconscious takes over in your sleep, what happens when you intentionally try to create in English while you are awake?
Ooh, interesting.
What if the next time you sit down to write in a journal, you write the entry entirely in English without translating a single thought? What if the next time you try to tell a funny joke to a friend, the punchline arrives in your brain in English first and you just say it?
That changes everything.
It does. Once you conquer your inner thoughts, the outer world stops being a high-stakes exam. It becomes your playground. The rigid mathematical rules of the classroom don't matter anymore because you are finally just playing the game natively.
I couldn't agree more.
Keep practicing, keep talking to yourself, be kind to your brain, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.